and we've got Tundra as the map today. We haven't seen this one yet in the tournament, made by Eerie, so big shout out to him for whipping this one up, and it's got some unique features like these wall eaters and a neutral barracks that can't actually be converted. These guys can be though, and they're a really good unit. Take up no population space, roughly a 6 pop unit in terms of unit value. They actually health regen as well. And spawning here as player number 1 today, our blue Greek player, we got KazMx, and he's taking his first hunt now. And his opponent today, the red Persian player, we've got Taz, so he's also taking his hunt, actually with more villagers on the barracks at the moment. I mean on the wood to get the barracks out at the moment, but here we go. Kaz looks to also be gathering quite a bit of wood, and getting a second storehouse on his stone mine first, rather than going for a dock or going for a wood storehouse. In fact, that's a really nice spot because you can actually gather off those 3 deer with the 1 storehouse, then take a second storehouse over here somewhere to get really a lot of value, basically a storehouse and a half's worth of value for the hunt, as well as have a wood storehouse. So keep an eye out for those things, guys, because they do actually add up, give you a bit of value. And hello to everybody in the chat. I think that's Ophelia, that's Alundra, I'm pretty sure. So we've got Taz's barracks finished up, and Taz actually said, let me know how many villages idle I have, how many seconds of idle training time I have in the town center in the game, and every second I've got to do 5 push-ups. So hopefully for him it won't be a long game where they both get to 90 villages and don't have to build any more, because he didn't really specify what happens then, because all that time the town center's idle, that's going to accrue 1,000 push-ups for the poor bugger. Right now, Kaz distance gathering the wood here, so this is going to put him behind. The longer this goes on, he really needs to get a storehouse up here, or like I said, go for one down here, and then he can actually use that to give him a bit of a boost on gathering this hunter ball as well. So Taz is finishing up with some spire production, and here we go, 1, 2, okay, so only 5 push-ups there. I was going to type something in chat, but I better not distract him. No, I better not do that. So you got the spire bar coming out, and it is a little bit laggy. I might even just so it actually does seem a little bit less laggy now. Might be just sample size. Anyway, I've gotten used to playing at low scroll speed, lol. Okay, so we got the 3 spire here, taking those sheep off Kaz, but he does know about this then, or should, because these guys are going to come in hot here and deal a little bit of damage. Kaz actually going for that storehouse placement right up there, like I said, and Taz now going for a dock behind this, so this gives him a bit of an advantage. Even though Kaz is going to get that early rage up, it does also mean that Taz is going to have the ability to produce those fishing boats, then follow up with the town center as well. Now Kaz can obviously mirror that in reverse and go for a dock after the town center. But oh, it looks like he's over gathering on stone quite a bit here, so this is going to slow him down a bit, because it's going to mean that this is wood and gold and food he's not gathered to get units out, to get that dock out, to get the town center finished, because he's still getting the wood for that. So all the way up to 570 stone, not a good start from him economically. Right now villager counts 14 to 16, so Taz up by 2 villages and has his age just finishing off now. Kaz can can pump out some more villages. He's got the population space to do so, and he's throwing down the town center here, so he's got to be careful to not lose this to the Sparabara, because if they mass up and come in on this, they're going to take it down pretty quickly. But I can't actually check, but Taz definitely would have seen that running his scout across. But Kaz has too many villages there, so it's pretty fun having to swap between saying Kaz and Taz all the time. I'll tell you that. Range coming up now from Taz, but Kaz's town center is just about finishing up. That Sparrow going down, but the Sparrow, the beauty of them, they can actually sit under the town center fire a little bit better than the spears can. They do have something like 30% or 40% pierce armor. So a nice little benefit to them. Just makes them a little bit tankier. And this is nice in a sense because it does mean that, yeah, Kaz is doing what you could have done with the storehouse, but at the same time it also means that he gets this little bit of vision, gets this little bit of forward defensiveness. Taz is going to lose a Spybar there by the look of it, but he's sending some others in, and it's possibly just to distract Kaz at this stage because he's sending this other pair in up over this other side of his base. So wonder if he's going to get any value out of this, or if he's just checking to see if there's a dock and just preventing one from possibly coming out there. But that Spybar did fall down, didn't really do much damage at all. Don't think he really even forced idle villages. So that single Spire not able to do a lot of work, but at the same time Kaz still landlocked, hasn't taken the dock yet. Kaz all the way up to 4 fishing ships, so he's 26 villages versus 21 at the moment. 5 villager lead, so that's a good opening from Taz. From Kaz, a little bit sloppier, but the game's not over yet. He just needs to get some production facilities out so he can actually get some units on the way. Probably needs to work on his wood income a bit more before he worries about getting too much gold, because he will float a lot of gold and a lot of food at this position if he doesn't get the wood out to get some production facilities out quickly. So he's getting the barracks out, but he's probably also going to need to get his own range to deal with the Spybar and to deal with any spearmen that come out, because he's also probably going to want to get Sarasofroy to deal with the bowmen that are going to come out. And naturally, if he does that, there's also going to be Asabara to clean up his Toxotes. So he's doing a good job at opening with the barracks, but he's going to need to get all 3 production facilities out quickly here, because there's this little force here from Taz that are coming in now. They should actually be able to interrupt this barracks by the look of it. They're actually going to go straight onto the villages instead, so this is a little bit greedier in a sense, trying to snipe your opponent's villages, but at the same time you can really put them behind, and if they're not producing workers optimally already, then it really means they can fall behind. So he is going to get the range in the end here by the look of it, opting to try and finish it off now rather than kill the villagers, but he's got one Spybar focusing the villagers, so he's going to get that villager. Oh no! And the range does finish off, and Kaz's villager luckily makes it out on 2 health there, so it's a little bit laggy now though. But yeah, we got both production facilities finished here for Kaz, sorry, and Taz now taking a second dock. Kaz hasn't yet taken a dock. Oh, I just realised I've got the wrong overlay. Sorry guys, I'll try and get that all fixed. There we go, so I got the overlay sorted. Sorry about that, been too used to personal streams. Kaz actually opting to repair the range, which is interesting. He's going all the way up to full health too. And Taz in the meantime, just harassing this storehouse just means that he actually denies all this vision as well, so he can mass units up right here, ready to go in here on his opponent. So that vision for Kaz no longer there. He does have the high pass boost, so that he's actually will counter the Spybar, but he's also worried about just how much his opponent's got. He's only got 1 Toxotes of his own. Taz on the other hand has a pretty big force at home here in comparison. Population differences 80 to 49, villages 35 to Kaz and 40 for Taz. So Taz's villager production only 5 more than his opponent's at the moment, despite getting all that early advantage. So Kaz actually with a little bit better villager production during all this going on here, because he was already down by 5 villagers, lost a villager, but Taz mustn't have produced villagers as well behind that, so that's a lot of push-ups, my friend. But this is nice. He's getting the merchant transport line set up, so this is going to mean he's going to get ample gold out of this. He's going to have to worry about getting a lot of gold on the map the longer this game goes on. And he's sort of repelled here, but I don't think he realizes Kaz doesn't actually really have the army size to defend a push, I don't think, because there's a lot of bowmen now in the mix. There's only a bit of a small front line, so Taz could probably keep producing more in the way of infantry. Could probably even get conditioning, force him out that little bit faster, and look at getting some upgrades as well. He's got the... oh, he doesn't have the stone yet. He's only 11 stone off being able to take his first upgrade, so he'd probably be best off actually doing that. But he's actually opting for an age 3 here, so he wants to get that early age 3 town centre out. He's Finnbar getting the storehouse, but obviously being countered there by the Hypaspis. These bowmen not in the range to pick off that 2 health villager there that's still able to contribute to Kaz's economy. So if Taz had been able to keep a track of that, he could have picked that off with 1 hit, deal that little bit more damage to his opponent. Right now, Taz up by 11 villagers to Kaz's 45. So now the villager counts opening back up again. The lead there opening back up again. We got Taz, a bit more consistent production. Not really getting any more kills, but just denying his opponent's ability to gather anything from this north side of his base. But this is a nice wall with the production facilities, because there's no actual front line here for Kaz's army, but in a sense, as long as he can try and keep up on the range count, he can actually win this trade. The bowmen are only a 50 resource unit compared to Toxotes at 65. Only a little bit squishier in terms of health, but in terms of damage, it's 11 to 9. So they do have higher base damage. The Persian bowmen do need to back off in that instance. Even with a slightly bigger unit count, they're not going to be able to take that trade. And there is a tower finish there now. And Kaz has a lot in the bank compared to Taz at the moment. He could age and really get a lot out in terms of units, in terms of getting that production facilities and the armory for the upgrades, and getting his 3rd town centre out if he gets towards his age 3, because obviously Taz is probably going to look at doing the same thing here. He's got his age 3 now. He's just waiting on the stone. He's got plenty of stone gatherers. He's even taken his stone upgrades, so he's desperate to try and get that quick age 3 town centre out. Kaz is a little bit behind in that regard, getting his age 3 upgrade on the way now. Not producing any villages out of this 2nd town centre though, so that's going to be a bit of a killer. 54 villagers to 67 at the moment, so Taz seems has cut villager production somewhat again, but oh no, there we go. He is still producing villagers. But oh, Taz going to need to get that town centre out. He's throwing up some walls actually to use up some of this stone, which is not a bad choice because this map already is quite tight on the chokes, so if you wall off, particularly the side that you're not going to be pushing, it just gives you a nice bit of peace of mind that if you do get harassed on that less defended front, at least something's there to slow your opponent down. They've got to get through the wall first before anything else. It's even worthwhile walling off this little stretch because your opponent can always kill, convert, or just run past the wall leaders. So, and you've obviously got all this big natural wall segment, so you've only got to spend enough to cover really here and here, here and here. So it's pretty common to see walls on this map, I think, although not necessarily a full base or the whole lot. Like, it's pretty common just to see like that sort of thing, because even if your opponent sends in a couple of cavalry, unless they're sending like 6 or 7, they can actually risk losing some of them and losing a lot of health off all of them as they run through there. So there's a fairly aggressive, greedy workshop going up here. But this is interesting. If Taz actually walls this up, it makes it hard for his opponent to get to it, because then he can throw up another wall here. His opponent's got to head all the way around the other side. He can always throw up a wall there as well, pump out the rams, get them ready, take a good fight, or distract his opponent and come in with the rams. So Kaz is going to have to be mindful of this. He has only got this big field of Toxotes, doesn't really have any other units out at the moment. So and Taz has mixed range composition here. So Takabara mixed in is going to be exceptional in that trade. They've got lovely 25 damage with their bonus. And there is a ram in the mix now. Fortress going up on the corner. And it's just great aggressive static defense play from Taz here. The ram actually being selected out to go in alone, try and pick off the tower, because if he can do this without being noticed, this could be worthwhile for Taz, because then he can come in with a lot more ease, park his units up in here, and be nice and safe to take a good fight. Small front line here from Kaz, but he's only got the one hoplite, and he doesn't have any Peltus in the mix, so he really needs to get some Peltus in the mix, or get some Sarasophroi out of his stables if he wants to deal with this. He's got no stables yet. Nearly losing the barracks, but he does pick off Taz's ram. Taz is getting another, and another, and another. And the fortress is going up, in fact. He wants to try and convert the war leaders. So, there's a war leader for Taz. No population cost, and as you can see, the units are actually worth quite a lot. Taz just needs to be careful to not lose anything in the process of doing this, not slow down too much elsewhere around the map, but it looks as though he is throwing down more buildings, so he's a little bit mindful of what's going on here. He can lose the spy, but that's not a huge deal considering he's getting a pair of war leaders, a third war leader out of this, so this is going to be great for his army. No population taken up again by these units. They deal damage, they have a counter multiplier versus cavalry, they got healing over time, they got such a large health pool. And Taz gonna try and chip off this smart little wall here from Kaz, but at the same time, it's going to be quite costly as it falls. So the house going down as well, going to force him to have to get more houses to keep up on terms of population. He's only at 100 population at the moment, and Taz is all the way up to 155. Ram's coming in now on this side of his base, going to take out the barracks. So this academy, which has just finished up, is going to go, and these war leaders are going to get some value here. Quite a tanky unit, and if they are out of combat, they will get that nice health regen. So they are just coming through, getting a couple of worker kills, and they do hit quite hard too. I think they got 18 damage. So pretty good damage, a little bit higher than most of the infantry. You've only got about 10 to 12. The war leaders are all going to fall in the end, but not before they've done a little bit of damage, killed a couple of villages each. All these production facilities for Kaz have gone down, and Taz, yeah, has got the GG out of Kaz here. So well played, well played. So here we go. We got a villagers villagers train. Here we go. So Taz. So where do you H up? We see when he aged up. Does it tell us? No, it doesn't. Okay. So I'm just trying to calculate how many push-ups Taz has got to do. But that looks like a second there. That looks like a second there. Anyway, sorry, I got a bit distracted there. Trying to calculate how many push-ups Taz is going to have to do because he missed villager production time. So, getting back to the stats, looks like that resource lead, a little bit explainable considering the villager count differential. In the end, it was 97 to 50. Obviously, Kaz losing a couple of villages there with the harass going on. And those war leaders playing a bit of a big impact there. Coming in and being a nice screen for these rams to keep getting damage off as the war leaders, there's the last of them falling in battle along with the ram, but not before it kills a building. So bit of a telling tale what's going on in the base there. And yeah, GG, well played guys. Kaz, yeah, saying he was sitting on a lot of resources, not able to spend them unfortunately, but with a bit of practice he'll be able to get it all down pat and get it all spent. Anyway guys,